Hello everyone, welcome to the final wall installation, which is where the lockers are going. Now, I am still at home. I am planning on going out to do the fourth wall on the cabin. As some of you know, I rested these lockers, a few videos back, and then I actually painted the inside. I cleaned them out and painted the inside. A metal paint. Unfortunately, gloss was the only finish that there was in a light gray. Otherwise, there was a dark gray that I think had a satin finish, but I wanted them to stay light. I don't care for the gloss. I'm going to take the lockers outside. I'm just not wanting to do it in the house because even that rust paint, like the whole house just smells like paint, even though I have the door closed and the doors open here and all of that. But I think this should work to just kind of tone down the glossiness of the paint on the inside of the lockers. And then we're gonna go out, get them down there, and yeah, obviously I don't know if I get the wall done yet because I'm not out there, but that's the plan anyway. I just got to where I park and I thought I would share this funny thing that I thought that those lockers were 80 pounds because I had to get Steve to help me last night, kind of in the dark, load them into the back of my truck, and we couldn't do it. Like, we couldn't lift them and get them up the snowbank. Like, I just couldn't lift my end and step up on this snowbank. So we had to use the trailer that we pull behind the ATV and pop it onto that and slide the trailer up. And I said to Steve, I was like, so like, what do you think these things weigh? Like, I don't know, 80, 90, maybe 100 pounds. And he's like, no, like 200 pounds. So that's why they feel so heavy, because they are so heavy. I'm gonna belay things down like I did with the power station. I did bring some actual climbing rope from home to do that rather than that other kind of crappy rope that I had last time for the power station. Okay, I have strapped things as best as I can, and then I have a tow rope at the top, and then I have the brake attached. So here I go again, getting a ridiculously large and heavy object down this mountain by myself. I know some of you will wonder where Steve is to help me with this, and he was at work. Sure, I could wait for a day that he could come and help me, but I am impatient, determined, and stubborn. I didn't want to wait another week or two to get working on that final wall. The thing is, I know I can do this task, and I'm always up for a challenge, but I do have to say that this one might have been the hardest so far. I've spent countless hours transporting materials down that mountain over the last nearly 2 years in both winter and summer. But what made this particular job so much more difficult than any of the others was the combination of the size, weight, and awkwardness of the lockers, with the fact that 90% of where my feet needed to go was pure ice. If I had transported these out a couple of weeks ago with more snow, like when I did my power station, I think it would have been much easier. All right, I'm gonna go move my truck out of the way. I redid the straps just to like balance the weight better as I attach them. I think what I am gonna do though is I might push it down over this platform so that it doesn't have to fall over. I know a few people have suggested to extend that ramp down, and that's a good idea. I'm not gonna do that today. That might help it transition down better than it kind of crashing down. I wish I had something not icy and not steep to stand on. Problem is this is so heavy that it's gonna drag on the ground. I think I'm gonna have to go down and guide it down. Camera, why can't you have a remote control? On my way down after the lockers had landed below, I bailed really hard with my big pack on and a tote of water in my hand, and I smashed my knee and my butt. I'm extremely lucky that my knee is okay. It was only sore and bruised, but that happening definitely added to my already grumpy self. While I normally sing and joke around in my head while doing these sorts of tasks, this day did offer a slightly different song for the birds, if you know what I mean. Is a person and a celebratory drink when you need one. Oh, I guess cookies and peanut butter it is instead. I don't know if anyone remembers, whoever saw the video last fall, I think it was maybe one of my final milling days, I milled up cedar, and there was one round log that I milled in half. And I said it was a surprise what those were for. And here is the other one. Looks like I'm gonna pull those out. Now, that was my plan. Similarly to how I did these logs, I thought it might look kind of cool to have the really mystical, whimsical cedar, like half logs. I don't know that I'm liking it already. I think honestly what would look better is to stick to the same species of log, or at least the same look, so that it's consistent. And because the space is so small, it's one room, it might look a bit odd to have the different log, but that was my plan. As much as I love the cedar, I love the whole idea, and it's honestly been a solid plan this whole time. Ever since I found that log and I split it in half, I was like, okay, I want to use it in the cabin. I knew I was going to install the lockers, so I knew it was going to go in the back with the lockers. But I don't like how it's a distraction for the rest of the wall. Like that wall to that wall, it just looks off to me. With the lockers in place, I also wanted to make sure I was putting the wood stove in the right spot. So I spent a fair amount of time thinking about this, playing around with ideas, moving the stove around, and in the end, for a variety of reasons, I'm going to stick with the original plan. Morning. It's about 8. I've been up for, I don't know, a while, puttering and make coffee. I would love to set up the solar for the power station, but it just requires a lot of work. I have nothing flat to set anything up on, and other than inside the cabin, which everything would be in my way. My plan is to set something up over here, like build like a little deck or something for them to go on. I need to build up the lockers a little bit. They're sort of like a metal lip all the way around, like maybe 1.5 inches. I don't know how that will look. Like I want to try to blend my flooring in. Like I want to lift up the lockers a little bit so that I can put the flooring underneath and have it look like it's on top of flooring more than butting the flooring up to the lockers. Trying to think of how I'm going to do that and anchor it down into the floor. And I'm going to get cutting those logs. My plan was to use those cedar half logs. And now that I'm not using those, I don't have anything else on the ready. I'm not going to get the fourth wall complete today. And I'm feeling a little bit discouraged yesterday and today, just feeling like this is just taking a long time, but it is what it is. I need to measure this lip blocks. I'll try and show you guys what this looks like underneath. So there's like these 3 separate compartments. They're like 1.25 inches deep. This was just scrap stuff I milled up for bracing. So I have bits of it around. I don't know how I'm going to do this, to be honest, because I need to bolt or screw down, I guess, this whole locker to the floor. I don't know if I should abort my idea of lifting it up off the ground and just doing it this way. I was going to put them in this way. And then I have to have really long screws, which I do, to screw through the depth of this or the width of this and then into the floor. Sadly, I think I'll be spending the better part of the day, or the morning at least, working on this. I think I have to put these lockers back on their back. This way I can properly get these pieces in here. Then I will bump the flooring up to this and then put a little faceplate on. You know, alternatively I go like this and then they sit flat on the ground, which honestly is probably easier if I just did this, but I don't think I like the look of the floor coming up to the lockers. There's another way I could do it. I'm just really like realizing how much more challenging it's going to be to do it that way. What I could do is just make this all flat, and then I could build up the floor with some scrap cedar or something that's like going to be the same thickness or so of the flooring. And I'll screw that into the floor and then screw that into this, which structurally I think that's a little bit better. So I might do that. Feet, so 18. I don't have pieces of this cedar long enough to span, so I'd be piecing it all together. The only thing I thought about was using a 2x6, using 2x6 on here instead, just so I don't have to piece this together, because for some reason it seems a little bit lame structurally. I don't know that it matters. Although the lockers, there's a discrepancy somewhere. There's something is off. As long as I can manage to get these boards lined up. The lockers are plumb. More or less, so are both of the posts. The floor is off a bit. I don't know what exactly the deal is, but you can see that the lockers at the top don't line flush. I put this board across and there's a gap in here. So I'm just trying to figure out how I want to sort this out, I guess. It's good at the bottom. I'm thinking about pushing the lockers forward and shimming them. I'm gonna see what that looks like. Or I leave them as they are and I might put these homemade 2x4s. I might run them along here. I was hoping to not do that, but I might. So playing around, there's a lot of sitting around, scratching my head, trying to figure out what I'm doing. Doesn't take much to slow you down when you're by yourself doing this. I thought I would have it done by today, to be honest, but it's not gonna happen. Yesterday was so hard. I was so frustrated yesterday. I'll have to remind myself the challenge of doing this. This is like a huge undertaking for just one small person to do. So, trying to be patient with myself. Oh, you guys, sorry. Oh, I don't have shims. I mean, I have 1/4 inch shims and 1/2 inch shims, and the 1/4 inch is too thick at the back. You know, because this metal, there's this tin and it's all uneven. It fits in some places and then not in others. I have this one at the front and it does line it up to what I have up there, more or less, but it's sort of floating now. It's not, you know, it's not secured down now. If I put this one in all the way, it just pushes it back. So I'm going to forget the lockers. I'm going to work on, I gotta resharpen my chain because I hit that broken screw. I'm gonna sharpen my chain and I'm gonna work on splitting, like chainsaw milling in half one of those logs and work on something else and slowly integrate the locker back into things.
something along those lines. I want to mill that one in half too, this log here. Do the same thing and then play around with which matching pair I want to go there. I think with the longer log, I have enough to cut off and use the same piece that goes on the gable ends. The ones that I have there are not long enough. So next time I'm out, I'm gonna do that one, cut off the pieces and see if they go all the way and just kind of play around, see what looks best. But there's the general idea anyway.
And I think that's it. I'm going to spend probably about an hour cleaning up and packing and hiking out of here, driving home. So I thank you guys for watching. This was a hard one. The whole time I'm thinking, how can I make this into like a nice video? I just feel like it's been me complaining the whole time, but that's the reality. Some days I feel like I get a lot done and I'm really positive about it, and then other days I have like so many roadblocks and I just can't seem to get ahead. But that's just the way it goes. So anyway, I feel like I need a shower. Look at me. Oh. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.